Hey everyone, it's Connor from Koyfin. Today's release video is going to cover an update we made to the client portfolios, which is the introduction of views, as well as additional organizational improvements we've made so that you can now group tables, add custom column configurations, add summary rows, and more. The great part is these updates help teams and individuals. For teams sharing a client portfolio workspace, these views will also be shared across the team and the workspace, meaning you can leverage these resources across the whole team. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to jump right into the client portfolios homepage here. You can see that we have our households, portfolios, and accounts all set up. I'm going to jump into the Chapman household. In the two core table components of client portfolio analysis, you have the profit and loss table, and you also have the analysis table as well. You'll notice we've added a bunch of table organizational options such as grouping, columns, summary rows, and in the profit and loss page, you'll notice this view drawdown as well. So this works similarly to how it does in watch lists in Koyfin. Previously, you'd have a single view here, but now you can create many. So what I might want to do here is update this existing view, which is called profit and loss. So I've got my table laid out like this. I can now rearrange the size of the columns, which is great. I can also come into the column picker and you have the full library of Koyfin columns available to you. I might want to pull up a country flag, for example, and drag that into my table. I might also want to narrow some of these column widths so that I can see a bit more data on the screen. And I might want to shuffle some of these around as well. If my client, Mr. Chapman, is a US investor, for example, these profit and loss columns that show you the impact of FX might not be so useful to me. So I can right click and remove these columns if I want to. Alternatively, I can remove these from the column selection window as well by just pressing X. If you want to save this view, just make sure that you either save it manually or you have autosave turned on. So this might be the view that I like looking at when I'm just analyzing the household structure. You can see that we've got things grouped by portfolio. So we've got Clarissa Chapman there and we've got Ronald Chapman. If I want to view this as a flat structure, for example, you now have grouping options here. With the household portfolio account grouping option, that's going to give you the structure where it shows you the underlying entities. So if you're in a household, it will break things out by portfolio and account. If I jump into a portfolio here, you can see that we're going to break it out by account. And with the account level, this is always going to be flat. But if we go back up to the household level for a second here, you can see that I now have the ability to ungroup everything. So everything is just flat and I can view this on a security level. Alternatively, I can also group things by sector, industry, country, or instrument type as well. Something to note here is that this household portfolio account grouping is a great way to navigate forward through the layers. So you have this hyperlinked portfolio. I can click that and jump into the portfolio. You will lose that if you're using other grouping options. So I'm in Clarissa Chapman's portfolio here, and maybe I have a particular view that I like looking at household with. So let's go back up to the household. I like having everything broken out by portfolio and account. When I'm in my portfolio, I might like things to be broken out in a kind of a flat basis. I don't really care about the underlying accounts. So what I'm going to do is open up the view selection. I like the column arrangement of this profit loss view, so I'm going to copy that for now. We're going to call this portfolio view. So this has duplicated that view that I had previously, but something I want to change with this particular view is I want this to be ungrouped. So I just want everything to be on a single security level with lots if we have any of those. And I might want to group the portfolio level by industry, for example. That's giving me a lot more flexibility. So if I change back to profit and loss, you'll see that it groups into the account structure. And if I group by portfolio view, it groups by that industry, which is what I wanted. We've also introduced summary rows to these tables as well. So right now I have a sum summary row, but if I wanted something like a portfolio weighted average, for example, I could add that to the table, and you'll now see that represented at the bottom of the table as well. The great thing about these views, if you are in a team in a workspace inside of client portfolios, is that these views will be shared throughout the team. So if I've took the liberty of creating a portfolio view that all of our advisors like to look at portfolios through, everyone on the team will now have this portfolio view available in their view selection. It's the same kind of story with the analysis page as well. You'll have a separate set of independent views here. So the analysis page comes with a bunch of pre-made templates. You might want to look at performance by year, for example. Previously, these were fixed templates. They were not editable. You couldn't create your own. But now you have the power to create unique views inside of the analysis page as well, with grouping, columns, summary, and currency conversion options. Something to note is that these views are shared, so if you are in a workspace, deleting some of these views will cause the view to be deleted for everyone. Equally, if you create a new view, everyone will be able to see this view. So if I want to go ahead and add a brand new view here, and I'll call it historic margins, for example, if I'm interested in looking at the margin profile of all of these companies, I'm going to ungroup that First thing I'm going to do is just delete all of these columns. And then we're going to look at a very simple template. I'm just going to take the current EBIT margin and I want to look at how that's changed over history. So let's take FY history. We'll go back 6 years. And when I click out of this, you'll now see that we have that data for the underlying stocks. So I now have the historic EBIT margin over time here, and I have this saved as a view, meaning I can come back to it in all of my other portfolios. So the great thing about these views being shared is that I'm in the Chapman household right now. I've created this view in my workspace. If I click out of that and jump into another portfolio, such as the Sherman portfolio, and if I go over to the analysis page, I'll have that historic margins view available to me. This means that you can create something once and leverage the power of it over all of your client portfolios in the workspace. So that just about does it for today's video. We just wanted to highlight that we've introduced views and more organizational items into client portfolios. This will allow you to improve the quality of your analysis and leverage your time if you're an individual or a team working within the client portfolio's space. As always, you can comment in the comments section below. We are at Koyfin Charts across all of our socials. Our help desk is help@koyfin.com. Until next time, thank you.